have much as far as like success. You know, I've always been the underdog story. You know, I grew up with asthma, and I think my biggest motivation was the word no. You know, hey, no, you can't do that. No, man, you're not the right person. You know, and I always took that as like, hey, man, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, you know, I was always like, yeah, okay, dude, you don't have any idea what I can do or can't do. Yeah, this is the dojo. I don't know if you know Jimmy Johnson. I watched this show. It's called Undeniable with Joe Buck, and I'm such a huge Cowboys fan that, you know, he's one of the most prolific like coaches that there's ever been in football. So he said this. He's like, your personal attitude and your effort equals your performance. And he goes in to say like, hey, dude, the only thing that you can fucking control is your attitude and your effort. He said that in like an 8-hour period, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. So, you know, if you put all the extra effort in, you put 16 hours in, and you have a good attitude, like your performance is going to show. It's always going to equal a really good thing. So that's kind of what I mean, really, that's my life right here. You know what I mean? In some ways, I learned a lot of things from the SEAL teams, but really, truly, like when you show up, it's always your attitude and your effort. You know what I mean? And if you show up with a good attitude and you give it your all, then, I mean, you're going to win at some point, you know? You're going to grind everybody down, or you're going to grind that job or whatever you're doing and get to your goal. So this is always like when the guys come over, the young future like little freedom fighters come over, that's kind of what I tell them. You know, it's just for me. It's just, hey, dude, have a good attitude and give it everything you fucking got all the time. So, sometimes in life, the way I explain it, or the way I always get to it, is like your life, sometimes you'll go until you find that edge, that cliff, you know, and you can see down below your dream, what you want to do, you know, but it's fucking scary, you know, because there's a chance you might miss it, you know what I mean? You end up on your face dead, you know. And so sometimes for me, what I like to do is if somebody's right there and motivated, they have the ideas, like, oh, I want to do this, man, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And they sit there at that ledge and they contemplate like, all right, I'm not sure that self-doubt, that all that shit that comes into your life, you know, it just floods into you. And then some people never jump. And it's really a small percentage that actually jump and figure out their lives, and they end up finding, you know, that happy space. It's not always going to be pretty, but that's kind of the way I see things, you know. Life's a gamble, life's a risk, and those who are willing to risk the most is usually the ones that have the biggest rewards. You know, they go out, they grind it out, and they jump off that ledge, and it's dark and scary, and then you find yourself, you figure out you land on your feet. So, there's a movie with, it's called The Other Guys. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's, in the beginning it has Dwayne Johnson, and I think it's Samuel L. Jackson. They're these fucking prolific cops, right? And they're in this city, and they're just like, and me and one of my good buddies, you know, was like, aim for the bushes, right? There ain't no fucking bushes down there, but we're jumping anyway, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I always picture my life, you know, that, hey, dude, we're going anyway, man, just fucking, we'll figure it out on the way down. If you've ever watched the movie Captain Phillips, there was a boat called the Alabama. That's the one that got hit by pirates, and they kind of took over the boat, you know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. But I did an anti-piracy contracting gig, and we would just go on some of these boats as a four-man kind of crew or whatever, and just kind of, you know, we were pretty much guards for pirates, you know, in that area. And they were going to get rid of it. Now, I don't know if this was on the boat when the actual scene, you know, all that shit happened, but, and I'm not even sure really if a flag can last that long, you know, but they were going to get rid of it, you know, trash it, burn it. And I was like, no way, you know, I want that. So, you know, I packed it up, and I put it in my bag, and I brought it here, and it's been hanging here ever since. You know, it's just a cool flag. You know, like it's got such character. I mean, like really and truly, if you smell it, you can still smell the diesel. You know, or you know, all the shit that's on the shit. It's disgusting, but you know, it's just it's a symbol, you know, of freedom. You know, and it's and at least in my life, it's a piece of history. You know, it's something that I went through, and so, you know, anything that I never was that way, but now that I'm getting older, you know, I'm getting all sentimental and stuff, so, you know, and the kids, you know, whenever, whoever I bring over here, you know, it's just a cool piece, you know, it's kind of a conversation piece, and so, kind of breaks the ice, everyone's like, oh, fucking cool, man, but really the job was, you know, it was just, is this a job, you know, but it's always a cool little fucking flag, you know. My wife hates it when I cuss. You know, she does. She was saying like, "Oh man, you gotta watch it," and she's right. You know, like to really reach and be accepted well. You know, from old to young to the young ones. You know what I mean? And they're looking at it. You know, I don't want them to. You know, but the sailor mouth always comes out, and it's just like when it's getting nasty and it's getting, you know, like you know, it's like time to strap it on and get, you know, tough and whatever the fuck, you know, get a little taller. I just always cuss. I don't know. It's just like it's automatic. Sometimes I don't even think about it. You know, but my wife always kept saying, "You better watch your mouth." And I'm like, "Dang it, yeah, you're right." So, hey, whoever's out there, you know what I mean, my sailor mouth, I apologize right now, but it is who I am. So, anyways, yeah, I love that thing, you know.
He's always been a good coach, I guess, a good teacher. He was a youth leader, and I think he really just got into it to impress me, like keep me on as his girlfriend, but he ended up being really great at it. The kids loved him, and he just grew closer and closer to God and really started his journey when we were 19, early 20s. But before training these guys, before he and my brother-in-law started training these young guys that want to go in the military, he's trained a lot of teenagers here in the neighborhood who had an issue with bullying. There was another friend who she went to Africa. She's been going to Africa for mission trips, and she went by herself this year, and so he just taught her some basic you know, self-defense stuff, even though the place she goes is relatively safe. But he goes all out for these kids. And there was another neighbor down the street who just really he's interested in the military, and he moved away. He trained him, and he trained another kid, Tate, who just graduated from the Coast Guard, and really smart, amazing kid, and kind of keeps him on his toes, and it keeps him motivated. And I think he needs it as much as they need him. So it's pretty amazing to see him keep going with these kids and see what they're aspiring to be, and for them to get something out of his hardships and him overcoming, because he really was a regular kid. You know, he has a true underdog story. So once everybody hears his underdog story, you know, they can relate to him. And he's little, you know, he's relatable. You can't believe he's done what he's done, and he has. He never quit. He's never quit anything. So he's my hero.
So the reason why this is up here, there's a point in B.U.D.S where before you enter the pool, you have to do what's called a decon area, you know, decontamination type shit. But really what it is just a torture method, I think, you know. But it really does kind of clean that pool off, keeps all the junk out. But before you go in, they had this thing called a decon area. And it was just this line that kind of went up all the way around you with these sprinkler systems or whatever, and they would turn it on. And dude, it was so cold. So, you know, this is like a permanent statue. You know, you just get in there real tight. And you're like, oh, come on, when are they gonna turn it off? And you never knew when they're gonna turn it off. So, one of my friends is like, hey dude, why do you got a bunch of fucking naked dudes up here, right? Which I get that now. I might have to change out the picture just for that. But it really doesn't stand for that. It's just like, hey dude, this is what grit looks like, you know what I mean? Like getting in there, you're getting your shit pushed, and you gotta go, you gotta keep going. So yeah, but I like that picture a lot. So this right here, she made this book for me, you know what I mean? It's nothing really fancy, but you know, it's B.U.D.S. So it was kind of when I was going through, the instructors, they took these kind of pictures, you know, to kind of like, you know, the cameras weren't as awesome as they are now, you know what I mean? I'm sure that, you know, you could pull out your phone, but back then it was just, you know, the wind up and the little, whatever those little cameras were. So, says to my husband, to measure the man, measure his heart. So I'm still in love with your beautiful heart. Although your accomplishments are many, I am taken by your zeal for life and the love you have for us. You deserve everything good, and we are so proud of you. That's my wife, Tessa. But as you can see, you know, that's us standing right there. B.U.D.S was never, it's not rocket science. You know, when I showed up, I expected to see all this stuff. Like, you know, oh man, these elite warriors must be something cool. They're probably, you know, doing some really commando cool shit. But really and truly, it was water, it was sand, it was boats, and it was logs, you know what I mean? And it was like, you know, the water, the Mother Nature did everything for them, you know? They left us in there as long as they could, and, you know, and it worked. It worked. So this right here is surf torture. Basically, you'll all get in a line right here, and they'll say, all right, assume the position, right? And so right here, you just kind of all lay down, you link arms, and you just let the surf kind of go over you. And it's a really grueling kind of experience. These guys are just making fun of you. The best shit talkers are B.U.D.S instructors, you know, or any kind of instructors in the soft community. They are so good at pointing and figuring out and like zeroing on like weak individuals. This right here, this is my Smurf crew. So this, the way it goes, like when you get to B.U.D.S, they get you in a height line. So, you know, from tallest to shortest, and then they group you depending on how tall you are. So you want all the kind of the same people on the same height line. So I was the smallest guy. And so on there they have this, what's called the Smurf crew, right? And on the front of your boat is a big fucking Smurf, you know what I mean? So for us, I don't know if it's typically always that way, but dude, we were just gonna get our shit pushed, you know what I mean? And it was hard. And dude, look at my face. I think this was Hell Week, you know what I mean? Like, look at that, dude. I am not having fun at all, you know what I mean? Some guys are smiling and everything, and I was like, fuck, I'm so cold. This is me right here. This is the grinder PT, you know what I mean? Somebody's screaming at me, you know what I mean? Pouring water on me, just miserable. And then this is me suffering right now. I was trying my hardest, you know what I mean? It's just, and this is log PT, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys on a log, you know, and that was probably one. This is by far the worst thing that I did, I think, in B.U.D.S. And then this was me getting pinned. So graduating, got my bird. That's what we call our trident, you know. Dude, you know what was funny about this day? You know, look at my wife. Look how proud she is of me, you know. And I just got my bird, but as they put that on me, dude. I mean, the thing doesn't weigh anything, but I think that the weight of what it was, I could feel it, and I knew I had to live up to it, because there were just so many badass people there that had died, all the stories, you know, and all the war that was going on at that point, you know. It was just, you know, I got in right after 9/11, you know, like 9/11 happened and I got in like 3 months after. So when I was going through B.U.D.S, the instructors are just like, hey dude, it's not about like if, it's when you're going to war, you know. So that was really the mentality. Always we trained for war, but at that time, you know what I mean, they had just fucked us up, you know. And so I just felt the weight of it. It felt like it was like 900 pounds. And rather than being happy, I was like, I gotta get to work. You know, I gotta start figuring it out, really, like hammering it down. I wanna be the best SEAL that I can be, you know? And so, and that's what I tried to do, you know? I'm not a war hero, but I've been to war. And I just tried my best, but I remember that day like yesterday, you know?